all of those things we've been talking about, I've applied them in my own life, right? And
Mhm.
so the credit card debt is gone now.
Mhm.
The automobile loan stuff, we have no automobile loan debt.
Mhm.
Mortgage debt, the house that I'm sitting in right now is paid for. We own it free and clear.
Mhm.
We don't have a monthly mortgage payment or anything like that.
Welcome to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. I'm your host, Ralph Owens, along with Terry Baylor. In this final episode of Effective Leadership, Larry talks about how he leveraged those same systems to be able to become debt-free. He talks about how iron sharpens iron, and then finally he leaves us his top book recommendations. Enjoy the show.
Because it wasn't like I wasn't in debt myself. I had over $30,000 balance on credit cards. I know some people, they go, "Oh, that's not that much." For me, that was a lot of credit card debt, right? That was just the credit card debt. I had over $30,000 in additional consumer debt and a mortgage on top of that. Thank God, all of those things we've been talking about, I've applied them in my own life, right? And so the credit card debt is gone now. The automobile loan stuff, we have no automobile loan debt. We tend to pay, and I get it. Some people think, oh, you should use the bank's money, yada, 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 whatever. You know, um, there is a time for using debt. There can be a time for it. There is such thing as good debt. I can tell you that the majority of the population don't use debt in a way that's good, though. So that's why I don't spend a lot of time talking about that. Mortgage debt, the house that I'm sitting in right now is paid for. We own it free and clear. We don't have a monthly mortgage payment or anything like that. And the house was built in 2009. We didn't buy it in 2009. We bought it in, I think we bought the house around 2017. I think we closed actually in December of 2016, now that I think about it. So first payment was due in 2017. But we found ourselves in a position where we were able to have it paid for by 2020. And now we talk about, new homes and we're considering a new home, but we thought, we may just pay for this one outright, and get on the one payment plan, for it. But having said those things, that's not to say anything special about me and my wife. There isn't anything special about us, other than, the fact that we've decided that we would get around people who actually have results that go beyond our own, and that we would listen to them, and we would listen intently, and then we would go execute on the things that we're learning.
Yeah.
And like I say, we fall down, still. We just get back up.
That's good.
And Larry, I love that too, right? Because, going back to being a leader, I think one of the biggest, or I believe one of the biggest aspects of being a great leader is being transparent, right? And not creating this false elite or this this image that there is no frailty, right? In our experiences. So no, I thoroughly appreciate you sharing that, because again, you're speaking to the evidence, right? You can, I mean, that's really huge. You're sharing, look, guys, I've sat in your seat, right? I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have the pressure of, okay, do we choose this bill over this bill? Right? So guys, look, everyone's got a journey. We all have a story. And what we're trying to do is encourage you guys to understand that, look, we're going to fall forward. We're not falling back.
That's right.
Right? We're learning.
That's
We're
right.
learning.
That's right.
So thank you, sir.
I've gone through this entire podcast, and I do want to mention that iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah.
And you really do have to spend time with and around people. Again, always looking for those people who are demonstrating excellence. And I've gone through this entire podcast, and I've not yet mentioned, not only a good friend, but a guy that I coach with on a regular basis. And literally, he's not far from me. It's a guy named Raymond Abernathy. And Raymond is, his background was IT, and it literally probably coached with the best of them. He was called into the ministry. And so he today pastors a church, but he's also an entrepreneur. And he's also building business that stretch all across the country, spoken all over the United States, all across Canada, Puerto Rico, the Bahamas. And, it's just one of those guys that every chance I get to sit down with him, like I say, he's a close friend. And so to sit down with him and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking about this. What do you see? This is what I'm thinking about that. What do you see? Back to someone with results, someone who actually has some fruit on the tree. And I think this is something, again, that everyone should do. I always tell people, I say, if you ever get a chance to get some personal time with the guy who coaches me, boy, they should most certainly take advantage of that for sure.
That's good. That's good. That's fantastic. Yeah, I know Raymond, and I can attest to that. Absolutely fantastic guy. Larry, leave the people with a few more resources that they could lean into, because we talk about books all the time, right? There's some top favorites. Give us your top 5 books.
Listen, most certainly, I want to most certainly mention The Magic of Thinking Big. I think that everyone should read that book. I think that everybody should read books like How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success, in selling by Frank Bettger. I think everybody should read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think everybody should read Personality Plus. I think everybody should read Think and Grow Rich.
Napoleon Hill, yeah.
I think everyone should read those books for sure.
It's good stuff. That is good stuff. That is good stuff. That is good stuff. Man, this has been a fantastic conversation with so many nuggets that are going to help so many people. I'm glad we got a chance to finally come together and record this podcast. Larry, I mentioned this to you before. I appreciate you. I try to let you know that as much as I can. This has been in the making for years. I think as I recalled, we met in about 2009, and that's when things started to change for me from a financial and a leadership perspective. So, which has, it's like a ripple effect. I started telling Terry everything that I was learning, right? It started impacting him, right?
Yes.
It impacts our families. It impacts what Terry and I are doing today, right? So thank you. Just want to publicly say thank you for all of the time.
First of all, let me say thank you, because you've allowed me to have a front row seat to your journey. And I've watched and have seen some of the amazing things that you not only done, but continue to do. And it's funny, right? Oftentimes I'm talking with my wife and I'm like, man, Ralph what he's doing is absolutely awesome, to be able to have a front row seat to witness for myself, because I've watched the journey. And you are a testament, to what happens when you actually implement, leadership into your life, personal and professional development into your life, and decide to take it seriously.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for allowing me to have a front row seat to witness and share with me everything that's taking place in your life.
Awesome. So, and remind the audience one more time how they can reach out to you and connect with you as well.
Yeah, so they can reach out to me a couple of different ways. One way, they could email me at info@freejohnqpublic.com.
Okay.
Again, that's info@freejohnqpublic.com. They can go to my website, which is larrycheatham.com. And by all means, feel free to reach out to me at either one of those locations.
All right, awesome. We'll make sure
Larry,
we put that.
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Terry,
Thank you.
Terry.
Thank you. No, I'm saying this has been great, and I'm so glad that you came into Ralph's life, because I remember, Ralph, I was on my way to Lowe's. And I believe it was the around Thanksgiving. I think it was like 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And you were like, T, you got to get this book. And it was How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was so good, Larry. My wife would be like, I know what you're doing. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm telling you right now, if you all get this book and you read it and you start leveraging the techniques and tools in this book, she was like, I know what you're doing, but I'm still gonna be upset with you. I know you. She's smiling the whole way, and I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, get into that book. And so, Larry, thank you for sharing those nuggets with Ralph again, because leaders, what they want to do is they want to pass it along. And
Right.
and as close as Ralph and I are, Ralph is a mentor to me, right? Because we have to be willing to expose ourselves.
That's
to,
right.
to be really, in order to get the information and so to seek deep like it's supposed to, right? We talk about seed time and harvest. That you got to dig that dirt up. It's got to be broken up. You got to go down. So the only reason I know this because probably when I get home, I'm gonna have to do some planter boxes with my wife. So I know about this seed time and harvest, man. And so you got to dig that soil up. You got to treat it. She got all kind of nitrogen and all kind of stuff she's putting in the soil. She's one of those all natural. There's no miracle growing our stuff. None of that. You got to put the time in. So
Amen.
When that harvest comes, she's got stuff. She's not even really doing it now because she's so busy, but we still got stuff coming up. When you plant, when you treat the soil right, it's going to produce.
Yeah. And I'd like to throw a couple of bonus books out there in case there's somebody who's watching your podcast and they're dealing with some challenges maybe in their marriage. DNA of relationships and His Needs, Her Needs are two very good books that they should go and look up and read through.
It's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Well, we are going to sign off until next time. Again, thank you both for being mentors in my life. And we're going to continue on this journey together.
Larry, awesome, man. Awesome. I'm calling you the professor. You the professor. That's my new nickname for you. You was kicking some knowledge today, man.
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Sovereignty Podcast. If this content blessed or helped you in any kind of way, support us today by subscribing to our YouTube channel, clicking the like button for this episode, and sharing this content with others that you think it will help. Until next time, stay safe, peace, and blessings.